All right, let's dive right in. Today we're taking a tour of one of the most critical, yet maybe most overlooked parts of your entire nervous system. It's the unsung hero that keeps you alive and aware every single second. We're talking about the brainstem. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you something. Have you ever actually wondered what the on switch for your brain is? I mean, what part is responsible for that fundamental state of just being awake?
Now, you might be thinking it's the big, wrinkly cortex. You know, the thinking part of the brain. But the real answer is this small, stalk-like structure right at the very base. It's the brainstem, and it is absolutely essential to everything you do.
I want you to think of the brainstem as the control tower for your entire body and mind. It's this super compact, incredibly dense hub of activity, and it's got 3 distinct levels. We're going to explore them from the top all the way down.
So these 3 sections, the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla, they're literally stacked right on top of each other. Each one has its own crucial set of jobs. Let's start our tour at the very top.
Our first stop is level 1, the midbrain. This is the highest part of the brain stem, the piece that connects it up to the rest of the brain.
The midbrain is where some seriously important wiring gets its start. As you can see here, this is where the nerves pop out that are almost completely dedicated to controlling your eyes, all those tiny, intricate movements, and even the size of your pupils. Seriously, every glance, every time you focus on something, yep, that's your midbrain hard at work.
Okay, moving down a level, we find the pons. Fun fact, its name literally means bridge, which is perfect because it acts as a massive relay station, connecting different parts of the brain to each other.
And let me tell you, the pons is a busy, busy place. This is where the nerves come from that let you feel a touch on your face, move your eyes from side to side, and make every single facial expression you can think of, from a huge grin to a worried frown.
And that brings us to our final stop, the most fundamental part of the entire brainstem, level 3, the medulla. This is where the brainstem finally plugs into the spinal cord.
Now, the nerves that come out of here, they control some of our most basic survival functions. We're talking about the incredibly complex coordination it takes to swallow, the muscle control you need to speak, and even just moving your tongue. But the medulla's most important job, well, it's even more profound than that.
And this quote says it all, perfectly. The medulla is quite literally your life support system. It houses the non-negotiable automatic control centers that command your breathing and regulate your heartbeat, the stuff you never ever have to think about. So we've seen the individual parts, right? But how do they all come together to create that on state we talked about at the beginning? Well, it turns out there's this incredible network that runs through all 3 levels of the brainstem.
It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Now, this isn't just one spot you can point to. It's a whole diffuse network of neurons, and its whole job is to act as the gatekeeper of your consciousness, deciding what sensory information actually gets through to your higher brain to keep you awake and aware.
So how does it pull this off? Well, the RAS is constantly getting flooded with all the sensory data coming from your body. Then it acts like a filter, screening out all the unimportant background noise, like the hum of your air conditioner. And finally, it sends a constant stream of wake up signals to your cortex, which keeps your brain active and alert. This is why even a tiny injury to the brainstem can tragically lead to a coma.
Now, here's something really fascinating. All of this incredibly dense and specific wiring, the cranial nerves, all the pathways running up and down, it gives doctors a really unique clue when something goes wrong in there.
This pattern is called crossed findings, and it's pretty wild. A problem in the brainstem will often cause symptoms on the same side of the face as the injury, but on the opposite side of the body. So why does that happen? It's because the cranial nerves serve the face directly on that side, but the main motor pathways that control your body actually cross over to the other side right in the brainstem. If a doctor sees that pattern, it's a dead giveaway that the problem is in the brainstem.
So why is this area so incredibly fragile? Well, just try to picture this for a second. Every single command from your brain to your body, and every sensation from your body back up to your brain, all of it has to pass through this tiny little corridor. All of those informational superhighways are packed into a space that's only about as wide as your thumb.
The bottom line is this: there is zero wasted space in the brainstem. It's so unbelievably dense with critical hardware that even a tiny, tiny area of damage, say from a stroke or an injury, can have widespread, absolutely devastating consequences, affecting consciousness, movement,
sensation, and even life itself.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? This small, elegant structure is the bridge between our mind and our body. It's the literal power switch for our consciousness. So if this tiny stem holds the key to everything we are, well, it leaves you with a pretty profound question. Just how fragile, and at the same time, how resilient are we really?